On Monday, 5th September 2022, the Nairobi Securities Exchange reacted positively to the Supreme Court ruling upholding your victory by gaining 42 billion on that trading day alone. On that day, as we received trading orders from our local and foreign clients, this reaction by investors was the clearest indication that the market embraced your win and that it has confidence in your stewardship of the Kenya economy generally and the financial markets in particular. Your Excellency, the support you have accorded the industry over the years is unprecedented, unmatched, and appreciated. What many people do not know and what we would like to highlight today is how instrumental you have been in guiding the innovation of the new capital markets products like Ibuka and M-Akiba. As the Kenya Association of Stockbrokers and Investment Banks, we have always been and remain sincerely grateful for your support. As you embark on the task of implementing the government agenda, we confirm that the industry is willing, ready, and eager to offer our support. We seek to hold hands with government and generate capital to complement the government initiatives aimed at raising funds and growing the well-being of Kenyans. On 5th September, when the stock market investors embraced your win, they also embraced your economic agenda and your manifesto, which shall spur economic development. Your Excellency, we are here to play our part in building the Kenya you have so vividly dreamed and have tirelessly spoken of. Your Excellency, on behalf of the fraternity of licensed trading participants, I assure you of our commitment in fulfilling the government agenda as outlined in the 5 pillars of the manifesto. As an industry, we exist for mobilizing savings for investment. That is what we do for a living. This resonates with your national agenda of encouraging a saving and investing population. We are the last mile to Wanjiku. We are here to support, educate, and encourage her to invest, and we are on the ground. Your Excellency, allow me to echo what will be the Chairman's humble request that your administration consider favorably the privatization of state-owned enterprises. This is how we shall democratize ownership of national assets and ensure that all Kenyans have equal opportunity to wealth, and that all Kenyans take advantage of their birthright, this Nairobi Securities Exchange. There can be no better example of a bottom-up solution than this, where Kenyans are financially empowered and given the opportunity to be shareholders in state-owned enterprises through the stock market. Additionally, a strong capital markets where companies in their ordinary course of business raise funds from the market is a critical check and balance to keeping commercial bank lending rates low. In addition to government IPOs, we also place for your consideration the support of county governments issuing issuances like county bonds with the backing of central government. If structured and ring-fenced well, these securities shall provide the much-needed additional source of funding for projects at county level, mitigate the over-reliance on national government with effects truly felt by Wanjiku. Finally, Your Excellency, we remain committed to the government agenda and with humility express our interest to be part of the team that shall deliver the national dream of rebuilding the Kenya economy. Your Excellency, we remain dedicatedly at your service. Thank you very much. It is now with great pleasure that I introduce a market player known to most of you, Mr. Jimna Mbaru, Chairman of Dyer and Blair Investment Bank and former Chairman of the Nairobi Securities Exchange from 1992 to 2001, a period of 9 years, to introduce to us the pioneer stockbrokers at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Karibu sana, Chairman Emeritus. It is now with great pleasure that I introduce a market player known to most of you, Mr. Jimna Mbaru, Chairman, Mr. Dyer and Blair.
Your Excellency, the President, the Deputy President, the Governor of Nairobi, Ministers, all protocols observed. Traditionally, I know the bell has to be rang exactly on the spot, and I do not intend in any way to deviate from the practice which has been there globally and which we have embraced here in the Republic of Kenya. Now, I want to say this, that we are very lucky, Your Excellency, that you have been able to make it to the stock exchange. There were 4 other presidents who had come here before. We hosted Honorable His Excellency Museveni, President of Uganda, in the 90s. We also hosted the late President Arap Moi on 2 occasions. And in fact, in 1998, he came exactly 1 month after he was elected, exactly the way you have done. He also came again in the same decade, and he rang the bell also. We hosted President Mwai Kibaki, the late Mwai Kibaki, more than 4 times. We even had on occasion to give him Uganda 3 lunches. And therefore, we are very, very lucky indeed. I also want to say that we hosted the Secretary of Treasury of U.S. government, and if we had more time, I would have explained how elaborate that procedure was, but it was very difficult, but we did it. So it is grateful that, and we are delighted that you have been able to come. You are the 5th international leader to come here, and you are the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya. We are truly blessed. My job is very little, is to introduce the original pioneers of this industry. And the first one is Honorable Genye Kariuki, who was the chairman for 12 years. Genye Kariuki. Then we have James Wangunyu. James Wangunyu is the chairman of SIB, Bob Kalina, and Dennis Waweru, who is here. And we have Stanley Gaine. We have James Moligo. We have Dungu Gadhenji, who is not here. We have Field Marshal of Castro, who may not be here. The late Francis Du, a very great founder. Paul Mwai is here, and James Moligo, and finally myself. Over the years, and I don't want to take any more time, you know, the stock exchange has played a very important role in the localization of industries and even helping banks to recapitalize. But the most important thing we did during Kibaki's era is to develop the bond market, which continues even today to help the government to raise insufficient resources to finance the economy. Thank you very much indeed. If I had time, I would have said a few more, but time does not allow. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now, Your Excellency, the Chairperson, Mr. Kiprono Kitoni, the Chairperson, Nairobi Securities Exchange. Bwana Kiprono, karibu sana, Bwana Chairman.
We have James Moligo.
Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, leaders from the political class, leaders from the executive, business leaders, and fellow hustlers. And I say that in earnest, Your Excellency, because my friend Benson Wairegi once told me the story of how he began life with Jim Nambaru, and we know the story of Equity Bank as well. And Your Excellency, these owners of capital are actually hustlers made good. So they are really in line with what you've been saying. Good morning. We welcome you this morning. It's a great pleasure, it's an honor and a privilege to welcome the 5th President of the Republic and his Deputy President to the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Coming so early in your reign, it shows the significance that you place on our markets, and it marks a very special day not just for the NSC, but for the entire capital market ecosystem in this country. We are the 5th largest exchange in Africa, certainly the most dynamic in sub-Saharan Africa, and we are a bellwether, like many other exchanges are, in which you can tell the economic performance of a nation through the performance of an exchange. Your presence here today is significant. It's a testament of your commitment to priority economic reforms aimed at supporting medium to long-term economic growth, an increase in employment opportunities, as well as reducing fiscal vulnerabilities in our economy. As you've rightfully pronounced on various platforms, local capital markets are an important economic tool, if well harnessed, have a unique potential to accelerate sustainable economic growth needed to broaden prosperity and reduce poverty in a country driving wealth creation. Similarly, Mr. President, deeper and more efficient equity and debt markets provide an effective and efficient way of mobilizing domestic resources and international capital, complementing traditional financing through fostering risk and long-term investments. Through this, public capital markets play a bigger role in channeling private capital in sectors with financing needs such as infrastructure, agriculture, housing, health, small and medium-sized enterprises, amongst others. Further, domestic capital markets help protect economies from volatile fluctuations in capital flows and reduce their dependency on foreign debt, which weighs heavily on economies, especially ours here. Your Excellency, over the last few years, the NSC has made significant investments aimed at enabling us to offer world-class services through a world-class market infrastructure anchored on a globally recognized investment products and cutting-edge technology. The NSC has been successful in developing a broad range of diverse investment products, enabling issuers to raise capital, investors to build portfolios across a wide range of globally recognized products. Currently, the NSC is the second most diverse in Africa, after South Africa, and I recognize Trevor Manuel here, the chairman of Old Mutual. From a technology point of view, the NSC has adopted best-in-class technology, deploying similar technological capabilities offered by the leading exchanges in the world, such as the London Stock Exchange. Despite investments to enhance market infrastructure, our market has not experienced commensurate, robust growth over the last 10 years. In fact, the last few years have been particularly depressing. The situation has decreased domestic and foreign direct investment in our country that is usually channeled through the capital markets. In our view, Kenya, being one of the most promising frontier economies in the world, may soon not have the public capital markets to match the dynamism if the challenge is not adequately addressed. Your Excellency, capital markets are driven by sentiments, and the positive sentiment of your victory lifted the market, as Mr. Wangunyu said. But I'm certain that today, your presence here and the pronouncement that you will make will lift the market even further and inspire confidence not just by the owners of capital, but by the investing public out there. At the moment, 65% of all the funds trading in our market are foreign funds, and 35% are local funds. But I'm certain that there's a lot that we can do to stimulate the local economy to participate more in retail investing, and you've been very passionate yourself about the public doing more in gaming than they are on the stock market, and we completely ascribe to that school of thought. It is against that background, Your Excellency, that we launched the NSC Marketplace, an initiative that seeks to revive market activity and boost growth in our domestic capital market through addressing both the supply and the demand side to accelerate growth. The NSC Marketplace will provide a platform for Kenya to communicate investment opportunities to the world, positioning the country as a hub for trade and investments, enabling Kenya to attract FDI across various leading emerging sectors in Kenya through the NSC. Similarly, the NSC Marketplace will help highlight opportunities for global companies looking for international expansion, specifically in Africa, and we recognize you now in only 1 month of leadership as a champion for Africa, to consider listing on these markets. Equally, working closely with local and international media, the NSC Marketplace will open the trading floor for access to all media houses and all stakeholders and our partners to communicate investment and economic-related information from the NSC, increasing awareness of opportunities in Kenya. You might want to know that the NSC today is actually one of the leading vendors of information on financial activity. Additionally, the NSC Marketplace will help accelerate listing routes for leading companies through offering client-focused advisory and guidance to potential issuers, significantly reducing the time to market. Your Excellencies, I highlight these opportunities, and I must shorten my speech because the market must open in 5 minutes, in 2 minutes. So I'll actually go straight to the conclusion. Over the past 2 decades, the government has leveraged the Kenyan capital markets to raise capital to finance various projects, as well as to transfer ownership of assets through privatization. As you mark your first visit to the exchange, Mr. President, it is our humble request that your administration rejuvenates the privatization program. The privatization of state-owned enterprises will mark a decisive point in broadening Kenya's appeal to both domestic and international investors. That is our main ask today. We equally request the government to consider releasing additional shares in already listed companies, KCB, Safaricom, and the likes, enabling us to increase more opportunities, revitalize interest among Kenyans, as well as to help address corporate governance issues. I'm sure, Mr. President, you agree with me that many parastatals today, if they were listed, you would not have an issue with governance. Today, some companies like Safaricom, Equity, they're leading on ESG, and we must continue to emulate them. Your Excellency, I have no more time, so I will cut my speech there. And I want to conclude by really appreciating you for appointing Moses Kuria as the Minister for Trade and Investment. I've known Mheshimiwa for a long time, and I knew him as a hard-nosed, sharp-tongued politician. I did not know he was a business consummate leader like he is. The last few days of interacting, sir, we are confident that under his stewardship, we will go places. With those few and many words, and the rest I will share with you because there is no more time, we would like to invite you, Your Excellency, to open the market through the bell ringing. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Your Excellency. Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. So this is a historic moment for us at the exchange, and there will be a countdown. I don't know how the countdown is being done. Whoever is responsible for the countdown, at the end of the countdown, Mr. President, we shall ask you to ring the bell, and I'm sure that that ringing of the bell will lift not just this boat, but all boats.
13, 12, 11, 10, 9, in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now the bell goes, ladies and gentlemen. And the ringing of the bell signifies the opening of the markets for the day. It signifies the opening of the markets for the day. Thank you. And we pause, Your Excellency, for just one photo there after ringing the bell. One photo with Your Excellency after ringing the bell. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As the rest of us retreat, I wish now to invite Your Excellency to participate in the trading for the day. Welcome, Your Excellency, guided by the chairperson and the CEO. Your Excellency, you can join them. Here, Your Excellency, you can join Your Excellency. Wapiga picha tuondoke kidogo, tupatie Mheshimiwa Rais nafasi.
So I will key in a few orders for you to see how we do it. Okay. This is
the rest of us sit kindly. The rest of us be seated.
I'm selling 50,000 shares of Kengen at 3 shillings and 50 cents. So I already keep that in, and that's the client I'm selling for. And so I'll just click sell, and so that then goes into what we call a blotter, and you can see it. Let's see. Anyway, all the shares that are trading are keyed in, and you can see all the orders there. Okay. Let me just go back here. So I can key in another order. I will buy 400,000. Yes, of cooperative, and my price is 1180. But I won't put the whole lot. I'll just put a few first. Do you have some?
I can puliza.
This is the order book for Cooperative Bank. I've just keyed in the order, and so you can see all the orders that are there. These are buyers. The highest bid is at 1195, and the lowest offer is at 1215.
So they are not matching.
So no, not yet. So if you want to match and you give me an order, we can sell to this one at 1195, and the order will match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Your Excellency, these are our traders. So we have 22 trading houses, and today they're here and on the other side. So we used to have the market here. They used to trade here, but now they trade in the offices, and they can see the market at the same time. Okay. As I said earlier, we have ability to buy and sell shares also same day. So you can buy Safaricom or you can buy Cooperative Bank and sell it the same day. So the market is actually dynamic. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you, sir.
And we thank Your Excellency. Sasa tupige makofi, tumpongeze kwa makofi after participating in the trading for the day. Asante, we may all be seated as we continue with the program. Allow me, Your Excellency, sir, now to invite Madam Bide Mwema, the Chief Business Officer, NSC, to coordinate the session on listing experience. Bide, karibu. Kindly, if we can have the sound proper for her, kindly, thank you. Asante.
Good morning, Your Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, the Deputy President, the Governor, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. We are very excited to be having the launch of the NSC Marketplace. The NSC has been here for 68 years. It's been a great journey for us, different milestones. So when we present the next speakers, who will be speaking to us about their listing experience, as well as the advantages and benefits of having come to the capital markets, it's only an honor to be able to present them. We have 5 speakers who will be coming to us today. We will start off with Mr. Peter Ndegwa, the Chief Executive Officer of Safaricom PLC. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Peter Ndegwa.
Your Excellency, the President, Dr. William Ruto, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Your Excellency, the Governor of Nairobi, all protocols observed. Good morning, and thank you, Chair of Nairobi Stock Exchange, for the invite today. We've been given very strict time, so I'll keep to my time. So it is important to demystify the NSC and the stock exchange, the stock listing and trading with the launch of the NSC Marketplace. Safaricom is the largest listed business with approximately 1 trillion Kenya shillings in market capitalization since being listed around 2008. We have benefited hugely as Safaricom from the listing, from accessing finance locally, but also internationally. We have about 50-50 between local and international investors. It has helped us build our reputation and our own credibility, both here locally through the local participation, but also externally. And that is why Safaricom, as a local company, is able to go to markets such as Ethiopia. Last week, we made a huge milestone, and thank you, Your Excellency, for being the guest of honor at the launch of Safaricom Ethiopia, but also helping us with the getting the mobile financial services license in Ethiopia. Of course, we have benefited a lot, but I will speak also as a supplier of services as a technology company. We need to solve some of the barriers, or continue to solve some of the barriers to both the listing and the trading, and broaden participation and liquidity. Stocks and exchange are complicated to the ordinary person and to small business owners. We need to raise awareness, we need to drive education, we need to simplify products, we need to improve experience, and also we need to reduce cost of access. There's no better way than digitizing and automating processes and customer journeys. Some of the speakers have already started to speak. And since COVID, we've seen accelerated use of online platforms. Use of mobile handsets as a channel because it's ubiquitous, mobile payments as a way of settling and making experience seamless, and remove time-bound nature to trading would be some of the opportunities. We've partnered with the NSC and the capital markets, with the CDSC to innovate. M-Akiba, buying bonds, the first mobile retail bond. Bonga points for shares from last year. Your Excellency, you may have a lot of Bonga points in your phone. I can tell you how to redeem some of those Bonga points for shares. We can do more together to promote fractional ownership of shares. And we can use these digital channels for that, both shares and bonds, to democratize participation. But also on the supply side, we can do more to help MSMEs and SMEs who are, we have about 1 million SMEs on our platform. We can improve education, awareness, and deliver digital journeys. Listing is complicated and daunting, and managing a listed business is no mean task. Reporting, governance, ESG, and so on. As a corporate and as a technology company, we can work with the SME, so especially for retail investors and medium-sized businesses who want to raise funding. It's about enabling savings, financing, investment, and partnership. Thank you, Your Excellency.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, we can do better than that. I will invite our next speaker for today, Ms. Jane Karuku, the Chief Executive Officer of East African Breweries Limited.
Good morning, everybody. Your Excellency, I've been told I can say all protocols observed, and it's okay. All right, so I'm very honored to be here this morning, particularly to talk at the NSC. We are proud, as a company, we are very proud. We are one of the founders. Imagine that. I guess it was still very expensive. And in 2017 and in 2021. As a regional company, we always look to the Nairobi Stock Exchange to raise funds for our expansion in capital projects or even for operations. And some of the money we just raised in 6 months ago, or going back, 2015 we raised 5 billion. 2017 we raised 6 billion, and I guarantee you we've been paying back. We've never defaulted on any. In 2021, just a few months ago, we raised 11 billion shillings. When we came to the market, we got oversubscribed to 38 billion shillings. So we wished we had plans to do that. So I think what I'm saying, there's a lot of money in the market. And I remember when we came, we were talking to the NSC and CMA and the people and the other regulators. We were looking for efficiencies, and I must say we got that efficiency. And this was actually recognized as one of the best bonds by the Bonds and Loans Africa in local currency. It was the bond of the year. I think you need to clap for that, because working with NSC, CMA, and other partners, ABSA, and image registrars, I think we did a great job on technology. It was during COVID. We didn't have any physical meetings, but everything was transacted via Safaricom and via Zoom calls, etc., etc. Now, I think going forward, there's some things that we can do. I think we need more innovation, and I think all speakers are talking about innovation. We are talking of green bonds. We are talking about bringing the cost of transactions down, and I think we can also do better in terms of regulation. Sometimes the regulators, and I know I keep telling my friends on the left, Shamir, some of the regulations sometimes come in the way of efficiencies at the stock exchange. So thank you very much. I hope you're buying our shares. And I'm not here to compete with Peter. But one last thing, I think if we improve the efficiency of the stock exchange, we can bring better efficiency and yields to people who are investing. So thank you very much.
If you're not buying the shares, you can clap harder. Once again, Ms. Jane Karuku, the Chief Executive Officer of East African Breweries. Next up, we have Dr. James Mwangi, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Equity Group, PLC.
Your Excellency the President, Your Excellency the Deputy President, Your Excellency the Governor of Nairobi, investors, the leadership of NSE and Capital Market, Your Excellency, it's a really great honor that you have done to us who are in the stock exchange by ringing the bell today. Let me try and just focus on our experience. My friend Kiprono said these equity represent Hazoras coming good. And truly, I still remember the 1st of January 2005. We are talking of 17 years ago, when Equity Building Society, a village mutual fund owned by 2,500 farmers, mainly tea, milk, and informal traders, got equity convert from a mutual fund to a bank. The following year, we entered the Nairobi Stock Exchange. It was a rigorous process, as Peter and Jane has said, complex, of course, for the Hasuras. So my friend Peter Murigo was guiding me on this. Peter, where are you? I really recognize that great movement. But we argued a lot. As I said, we want an IPO. He told me your shares will trade at 70 shillings. That will be the introduction price. We'll ring the bell at 70. I said, Peter, we have worked very hard. We believe the price is 120. So we disagreed. Then I told him, we are equity. We seek fairness and justice. Let's list through an introduction without raising money. And sure thing, when we rang the bell, the price struck at 123. The Hasuras would have lost 71% of their value through a valuation. So the most important thing about Nairobi Stock Exchange is helping you to discover the true value. It's an honest price that the market gives. A year later, 2006, we then used the discovered price of 123 to raise money from Helios, and we all know it became the largest investment transaction in the region. Again, midwifed by Jim Nabaru. Jim, I'm very grateful for that. On that day, we raised $185 million. It was 11.4 billion Kenya shillings, making us the most capitalized bank. I think the most significant thing is the power of a stock exchange to raise capital. The Hasuras from Nyagatogo village had found a way of getting partners who had capital, and they had capitalized their business. Take it from that, on that day, I can see, but allow me to tell the story of the Hasuras. Thank you very much. Taking it from that day, we didn't, because we had raised capital from one individual as a strategic investor to give us anchor, the 2,000 hustlers found liquidity from the stock exchange. Today, they have sold to 30,000 other investors without Equity ever issuing shares. The amount they have delivered, the 2,000 have become anchor SME investors in this country, in all sectors. And Your Excellency, you know most of them, both are friends. So we can see how the market avails liquidity when needed. The Hazaras don't need to go, they don't need to negotiate with anybody. The market discovers the price for them. Lastly, is then the ability to transition the entity. Equity today has grown. When we rang the bell, the market cap was 4 billion shillings. The balance sheet was 12 billion shillings. Today, the market cap, Your Excellency, is 175 billion and a balance sheet of 1.4 trillion shillings. That is a very complex organization. But the stock exchange has allowed us to be able to transit and the Hasura shareholders to invite sophisticated and complex shareholders. Today, Equity's largest shareholder is the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Norway, Norfund, holding 13% shareholding. And without ever having been sold to the company, they bought from the market. The second largest shareholder is the World Bank Group. Recently concluded a transaction in April this year when they bought the shares of 7% of the shares of Britain. And we can see how Equity then can move from a Hasura company to a global company simply because of a stock exchange. Allow me, lastly, to appreciate the power of governance. And maybe we said we could continue to strengthen the governance structures of the listed companies, the capital markets, the NSE legal framework, to enforce very strong corporate governance. This is what has enabled Equity in the last 3 years to be able to raise 150 billion Kenya shillings of foreign loans to be able to lead to our real economy. And we are able to give significant loans, either in local currency and shillings, simply because there is an assurance, because there is visibility from the stock exchange. But more importantly, the value of that governance. The shareholders, the Hasuras who were in Equity in 2,500, have realized from one share through bonuses and splits, 600 shares. Their wealth over a period from 2000 to date has gone up 159,000% simply because of strong governance structure. So growth is quickly translated into value because of strong governance structure. So in crucial, Your Excellency, I plead with you to use the Nairobi Stock Exchange to empower the Hasura community. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you. We can do better than that. This place is a place for empowering stock, not only the capital markets, but the SMEs. Then we have our next speaker, who's Dr. Gideon Muriuki, the Chief Executive Officer of Cooperative Bank. Let's put our hands together for him. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Your Excellency, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President, Your Excellency, the Governor, Honorable Sakanja, Professor Jogona Dungu, incoming Cabinet Secretary, the National Treasury, Economic Planning, Honorable Moses Kuria, incoming Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Trade, Investments and Industry, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, I was asked to share the CoBank story. And the CoBank story is one of a small bank seeking to raise capital to increase its competitive edge in the industry, and particularly, as you know, our structure to ring-fence the cooperative sector, that's the bottom of the pyramid that predominantly owns the bank. The Kenyan cooperative movement, Your Excellency, with over 13 million members in over 22,000 cooperative societies and circles across all sectors, is the largest in Africa. The alternative, Your Excellency, of leveraging on retained earnings in terms of being competitive as a bank. Your Excellency, we started our IPO preparation in year 2007, and we had to deal with a couple of challenges. The very first challenge was coming from the bottom of the pyramid. As a cooperative society, we had been incorporated as a cooperative society at the very onset.
And so when we came to CMA law applied to limited liability companies. We needed to deal with that issue of how do we get to listed as a cooperative society. Number two, Your Excellency, there was a fear of loss of by the cooperative movement. They thought possibly they will lose control of this bank if it is listed. And thirdly, Your Excellency, when we actually finally came to the market, it was in 2008 when we had the global crisis. And there was a lot of discussion in terms of whether we should go on and not go on. And this morning I was remembering Mr. Mbaru and Mr. Wangunyu and Bob Karina. They came to my office and we had a lot of discussion, and eventually there were statements to and fro we should not go ahead, but eventually we went ahead with the listing, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, the IPO raised 5.4 billion. That 5.4 billion for a cooperative bank, Your Excellency, was a lot of money. That money came in handy for us as a bank, supporting the bottom of the pyramid. We have progressively increased our footprint from only 59 branches then when we were listing to over 180 branches in the region today. We have diversified our product growth and the customer base to now, from where we were about 1 million customers, then we are over 9 million Kenyans that are banking with Cooperative Bank, deepened our penetration in corporate and commercial banking, but more notably, Your Excellency, we have really penetrated the MSME market. Today, as a bank, we have over 1.9 million Kenyans in the MSME market with us. We went into fund management. We have a subsidiary business for fund management, managing over 200 billion of funds today, Coptrust Investment Services. We went into regional expansion in South Sudan, invested in additional transformation in the bank. Today, over 94% of our transactions as a bank, Your Excellency, are on alternative channels because of that digital transformation. We also went into insurance business, bought 25% of insurance, CIC Insurance Group. We also went into stockbroking business, and also through Kingdom Securities. More importantly, Your Excellency, we strengthened our grip in the cooperative sector. We invested a lot of money, as you are aware, in the cooperative sector, in the cooperative societies. We have an integrated financial system with the cooperative movement. We created, after the money we got from the listing, we created an advisory company. We employed over 20 consultants who, on a full-time basis, spend time in the cooperative movement, building capacity in the cooperative movement. Your Excellency, you will be pleased to know that today, SACCOs have over 550 banking sections, what we call the FOSAs, out in the rural areas, with a very deep penetration to that bottom of the pyramid and doing great work down there. And so, Your Excellency, today, CoBank, with an asset base today of over 600 billion, from the small bank that had around 83 billion we were listing, we believe we are playing a much bigger role in the support of our Kenyan people and the region. For instance, Your Excellency, my friend Peter Degwa Safaricom will tell you that CoBank and that SACCO integrated model, Your Excellency, is doing the largest Lipa and M-Pesa termination for Safaricom. We are terminating over 500 billion shillings every year, and this is increasing to about 65 billion per month now for the market. Your Excellency, allow me to mention that during the COVID-19 crisis, when conventional wisdom was that we don't distribute dividends, and there was a word we don't distribute dividend, CoBank actually approached our regulator, Central Bank of Kenya, and the Deputy Governor is here, and we told Central Bank, CoBank was created for a time like this. If there is a global crisis, if there is a financial crisis at a COVID-19, the retro will make us CoBank, we should share with the millions of Kenya out there. And the Governor, Central Bank of Kenya, Your Excellency, did support us. And during 2019 and 2020, Your Excellency, CoBank distributed over 11 billion shillings to the cooperative movement as dividends at that critical moment, which was a very timely relief for that sector. Your Excellency, I can't conclude without thanking you for creating the dedicated Ministry of Cooperatives and SMEs, Your Excellency, and CS Honorable Simon Churugui. We are all set for the key challenges you have set for us to further deepen this sector, Your Excellency. The SACCO's structure, Your Excellency, meets the requirements of successfully handling the Hustler Fund in terms of financial access, in terms of traceability, Your Excellency, in terms of inclusivity, in terms of affordability, and overall sustainability of the fund. We have very good group lending models within the SACCOs that will be able to take you there for that. And as I conclude, Your Excellency, I'll just say from our journey as CoBank, I overwhelmingly encourage more corporates to list on Nairobi Securities Exchange. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you so much. That was Dr. Gideon Muriuki, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Cooperative Bank. Last but not least, in terms of the people who are talking to us about the listing experience, is Mr. Jose Akili. What we were trying to achieve in this segment was to demonstrate the benefits of listing for existing issuances, but also to get people who are considering the capital markets to give us their perspective when it comes to that. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Jose Akili, Chief Executive Officer, CPF Financial Services. Over to you, sir.
Your Excellency, the President, the Deputy President, all protocols observed. I stand here, sir, to represent both CPF Financial Services Group, which comprises the Lab Trust Pension Fund, which was started in 1929 under City Council of Nairobi, and the County Pension Fund, which is now the scheme for umbrella scheme for 47 county governments. I also stand here to represent Association of Pension Trustees and Administrators of Kenya as their chairman, APTAC, which together we hold a value of over 1.6 trillion Kenya shillings in assets. We invest 47% into this market. In other words, all these listed companies are holding our money, and we are the biggest shareholder, I think, as a group. I'm glad to say, sir, that pension industry is a real engine of growth in a country like Kenya, just like in other parts of the world. The experience worldwide is that harnessing long-term contract funds, like pension funds, really is the solution to prosperity in a country. I want to say, for example, that through my own initiatives, working with our regulator, we've been able to unlock a certain amount of funding from the industry. We, for example, have dedicated 10% of our entire holding of 1.6 trillion available for affordable housing instruments. So the only challenge is that this has not been fully put forward or arranged within the industry so that you can focus it on that sector as you desire. And we are definitely ready to engage with your government. We actually want you to have a similar engagement with us as an industry, just like you are doing today with the capital markets. And we request that you give us audience. Secondly, sir, we are the biggest partner for the government in infrastructure development and investment. For example, if there was a serious thinking, most of the investments like the Lamu Port, SGR, Expressway, all would have been done by the pension industry if the instruments were structured well. You don't need foreign funding for that. The only thing, sir, we want to ask you is that there is a very interesting issue with your tax administration. There's a huge taxation on contributions of pensions into pension schemes, discouraging people to save. There is also a huge taxation on living when you're collecting your pension. Something is wrong, definitely, sir, because if you want to encourage more savings as you want to do, you have got to sort it out. You've got to remove it. I would not want your support, which you promised the Kenyans, that you'll match for every 2 shillings they put in, you'll put a shilling. If it will end up in taxation, then I want to say on behalf of that industry, sir, that I served on their behalf in this stock exchange for the last 9 years, and I'm proud of the reforms we put together, and that's why we see this industry the way it is. We would like to see more listings. With the money we already have, we are unable to actually deploy it effectively to this market because there are no instruments, there are no listings. I would like to encourage the private sector, the family concerns, the family businesses to come to this market. I mean, I know we are encouraging our government to bring the market, but I want to challenge our brothers and sisters who have invested in the private sector. I see Fimal Shah there and others. Surely, why can't we bring the listing so that we can be able to buy into it? On behalf again of my CBF Financial Services Group, we have a lot of sizable property investment, around 17 billion, and we want to list part of it in this market. And we have actually applied to our regulators, and we are hoping that they will in due course give us the green light to bring the first ever IREIT, income REIT, real estate investment trust from the pension sector coming from LAP Trust of 7 billion shillings.